So you want to go to business school and you need to take the GMATs, but you have no idea what is a good GMAT score. Obviously, you should always do your best. I will tell you, when I applied for the GMATs and I took the GMATs on my own, I don't remember precisely my score, but I want to say it was between 650 and maybe 680. What I've realized last year, the average score, or the score that got you in the 75th percentile, was a 650. I knew for where I wanted to go, which was the University of Chicago. It was called the Graduate School of Business when I applied. Now it's called the Booth School of Business. I know I needed to do a lot higher. And so I actually took a Kaplan course when I was working for Goldman Sachs in Chicago at the time. And so I went and took a Kaplan course after work and studied and learned and got my score up to an 800. I think it was a little bit lucky. Maybe I just had... I did work very hard and I am very good at math. It had been years since I've been out of college. I think partly if it was a different day and a different test, maybe I wouldn't have gotten an 800. But I did work very hard, and there were a couple things that I was super weak on in terms of English grammar. 800 on the math SATs was not difficult. But on the GMAT, the verbal part of it has always been my downside, and I just studied and learned the rules and learned the combinations of words that you need to do. Like, my kids will say, oh gosh, what do they say? Now I'm going to forget what it is. But they'll say, like, oh goodness, okay, I don't remember what it is. But it's when you use at or on or whatever after a word is like the proper saying, and they'll say things, incorrectly, and I have to keep correcting them. And I'm like, that you're going to be tested on that someday. You need to know what that is. So let's go over the GMAT. So partly I would say, what is your target school? I mean, sometimes it's, I want to go to the top, the best. Sometimes it's, I live in Texas, I want to stay in school in Texas. Maybe there's a school right down your street and you just want to do that, or you're applying for a night program or something. So look at what schools you want to apply to and what their GMAT scores are. And then prepare yourself for that. I do believe it is possible to score in the 700 to 800 range if you put the work and effort into it. I will say I pick up on things quickly. So when I studied for the GMAT, I think I took like a 3-month course right before the exam. But I know for some of my children, when we're doing things, we need to plan like a year in advance. 3 months in advance isn't enough time for this child to absorb information, be able to spit it out. I do know once this child does, I don't want to use the sex, sorry, does actually retain this information, it is good to go and it's always going to be there, and then they can quickly spit it out. But the process of getting the information to stick is a longer period of time. So hopefully you know yourself well enough to know, are you a quick learner? Do you need more time? Do you need a lot more time? And realize that the GMAT is a time test. So it might be something where, yes, it takes me a little bit longer to study and I'm slow when it comes to test taking. So maybe I need to take like 20 practice GMAT tests. My son is 15 and my daughter is 13. One of my daughters is, I only have one daughter. My daughter's a triplet, so I have 3 13-year-olds, but I've started working on them with the SAT. And partly is my son is great at math, but they don't throw out basic math problems, right? They'll have combinations of things. So I know if we start working on it now, 30 minutes a week, by the time he takes his SATs, these questions are going to be familiar to him. Okay, so let's run through. These are the median scores for different schools. Some schools are average, so let's just run through. So here we go. Actually, before I run through it, I just realized I do take notes what scores are first. So to score in the 99th percentile, you need a 760 to 800. To score in the 95th percentile, you need a 720 to a 730. The 91st percentile is a 710. 85th percentile is 690. 80th percentile is a 670. A 76th percentile is 660, and the median score on the GMAT is a 590. So now you want to apply for business school, and you want to know precisely what schools have what average GMAT scores. I'm going to start off with mine, if I can find it here really quickly. The Booth School of Business, I saw it earlier, and I believe it was 732, but let's just confirm. University of Chicago Booth School of Business, 732. So that's the average score of people applying to the Boost School. So you have to realize, like, you're going to take we don't know what the standard deviation is, but there are people getting 800. So you might be able to, kind of say that might be an outlier. You can't score higher than that. So maybe 680 to 800 is a great score. But here we'll go. We'll start with Carnegie Mellon University. The Tepper School of Business is a 691. The Columbia Business School is 729. Cornell is 710. Georgetown University McDonough School of Business, 705. Georgia Tech, 682. Harvard Business School, 730, and that is a average, not a median. Indiana University Bloomington Kelley School of Business is 679. MIT Sloan School of Business is 730. That's kind of interesting that MIT is Sloan School of Business, because I believe NYU is the Sloan School of Business. I guess the Sloans gave money. Stanford Graduate School of Business is 738. The Wharton School of Business is 733. UC Davis Graduate School of Business is 671. The University of Arizona Eller College of Management is 666. I don't apply this year. University of Michigan is 722. University of Southern California Marshall School of Business is 716. University of Texas Austin McComb School of Business 708. University of Virginia, the Darden School, is 715. University of Washington Foster School of Business is 704. University of Wisconsin-Madison School of Business is 646. So University of Wisconsin-Madison is 646. And the Vanderbilt University Owen Graduate School of Management is 690. So partly you also have to realize that, earning a top score at business school is, on the GMAT for business school is excellent. It's an excellent strategy to kind of make sure you're in that range of what's acceptable. But you also have to realize where you work and who your references are huge. So business schools basically are ranked where their graduates can get jobs. So if you are working at a school that if you were working at a company that hires a lot of graduate school students from a specific university, and you can get a great recommendation from, a senior vice president, that's going to give you a huge leg up, because they're going to want to make that senior vice president or, hire happy, because they want that company to hire their graduates. So keep that in mind. So, obviously the GMAT score is important, but the letter of recommendation, if you can get it from a senior person at your company that is going to potentially hire or has hired graduates of that place the program that you're applying, that's gonna be huge. Obviously your essay writing has to be good. They always say, I think, for undergraduate, your essay is so important. I'm not going to say it's not important in the graduate school. Obviously you need to have a well thought out, logical essay, free of silly grammatical mistakes and all that kind of stuff. But I would say I think a lot of people that graduate business school, and it's almost impossible to get C's in business school. I know when I went to business school, unless it changed, there's a lot of programs that don't even give grades. Just the fact that you got in was the hardest thing, but because they want their students to all get really good jobs. So if they gave grades out, is everyone getting an A because they want you to be hired? I mean, it is the incentive of the business school that all of the people that get into their business school get high paying jobs. So good, high paying jobs. So if they've given you C's, that's going to squash your efforts. So it was kind of frustrating that Chicago did that, but I will also say it was very hard to get a C at Chicago. It also was hard to get an A, but getting a B was relatively easy. So keep that in mind. Reach out to me if you have any questions in terms of studying or programs, or you want to apply to a specific school. I'd be more than happy to help, and I hope you have a good day. Thank you.